I was in a small kitchen in Florence when my mother mentioned it. We were on a video call. She was standing where she always stands when she talks on the phone, near the stove, one hand resting on the counter like she's bracing for something. "Oh, by the way," she said casually, "we sold your car. I thought I'd misheard her. The connection had been unstable all week, my car." "Well, you weren't using it," she replied. "And your cousin was in serious trouble. We needed the money quickly." Needed. I waited for the rest of the sentence. For the part where she said they'd talked to me about it, and I'd agreed. It didn't come. Dad stepped into frame. It was just sitting there. Insurance, registration, waste of money. This made more sense. The car was registered in my name. I had paid for it during my last 2 years of undergrad. They let me keep it at their house while I studied abroad because storage near campus was expensive. "You could have asked," I said. My mother's expression tightened, the way it used to when I questioned curfews at 17. "You're across the ocean," she said. "Why handled it?" Handled it. That word followed me for days. At first, I tried to convince myself it was practical. My cousin had debt from a failed business attempt. He had a baby on the way. Maybe this was temporary. Maybe they'd replace it later. But every time I replayed the call, something sharper surfaced. Not the loss of the car, but the assumption that my ownership was conditional. That proximity to them still meant authority over me. I didn't argue again. Instead, I requested a digital copy of the vehicle title from the state's motor registry. It came through in 2 days. Owner me. No co-owner. No power of attorney filed. I scheduled a consultation with a legal advisor recommended by my university's international office. I expected him to tell me it would be messy and not worth it. He didn't. "If you did not authorize the transfer," he said plainly, "the sale is invalid. You can file a report of unauthorized disposition of property. That will flag the VIN." It sounded clinical. Contained. I filed the paperwork that afternoon. I didn't tell my parents. 2 weeks passed. Then my phone lit up at 3:12 a.m. local time. 21 missed calls. A message from my father. "What did you do?" I let it sit until morning. When I called back, his voice was no longer casual. "The buyer tried to register the car," he said. "They said there's a dispute. The vehicle's been flagged." "Yes," I replied. "You reported it stolen," my mother demanded in the background. I reported it as sold without authorization. There was a silence I'd never heard from them before. Not anger, not authority. Uncertainty. "The dealership is threatening legal action," my father continued. "They say we have to refund the money immediately." "That sounds right," I said. "You're humiliating the family," my mother said sharply. I leaned against the wall of my apartment and closed my eyes. "No," I said. "I'm correcting a transaction." The buyer, apparently, had paid in good faith. The registry had flagged the VN when the transfer request didn't match the title record. Standard procedure. The car was temporarily held pending resolution. Authority doesn't shout, it just enforces documentation. "Withdraw the report," my father said. "We'll sort it out privately." "I will," I replied, "once the sale is reversed and the title issue is formally cleared, and once I receive the full amount that was taken." The word "taken" hung there. "You're being dramatic," my mother said. "I'm being accurate." There was another pause. I could hear them recalibrating, realizing this wasn't a debate about gratitude or family loyalty. It was paperwork, liability, contracts. 3 days later, the funds were transferred to my account. My cousin sent a short message. I didn't know it wasn't approved. "I'm sorry," I believed him. My father emailed a scanned letter acknowledging the unauthorized sale and confirming reimbursement. It read like something drafted by a reluctant attorney. Once everything cleared, I notified the registry to release the flag. The car was returned to my legal possession. I arranged for it to be sold properly through a licensed dealer. The money went toward my graduate program tuition. When I spoke to my parents again, the tone had shifted. Less assumption, more distance. "You could have just talked to us," My mother said quietly. I did, I answered. You told me you'd handled it. She didn't respond. What changed wasn't explosive. There was no dramatic fallout, no estrangement announcement. But something invisible reset. They stopped referring to my belongings as communal assets. Decisions about me were no longer made in rooms I wasn't in. Trust, though, didn't fully return. It thinned into something more formal. Studying abroad was supposed to make me more independent in obvious ways: language, travel, career prospects. I didn't expect it to clarify ownership. Not of a car, of myself. The real shift wasn't the legal action. It was realizing that adulthood sometimes means filing paperwork against the people who still think you're a child and staying calm while you do it.